Hello, YouTube. So I'm going to be talking to you today about one of the best emperors in Byzantine history, Basil II. In my opinion, he is the best emperor after the 7th century disintegration of the classical Roman state that still existed in the East. He represents the apogee of the Byzantine Roman state, as there is a clear delineation between the state that existed between 476 to about 600. The Eastern Roman state still had many of the features, the structures of the old Roman system. Basil II represents the best of what the new system after the 7th century and the Arab conquests had fundamentally changed the state. He represents the best of what that state was able to achieve. One of his most important accomplishments was the conquest of Bulgaria, a medieval state that had once captured a Roman emperor. The Roman state in the 10th and 11th centuries was locked in a pitched battle with the Bulgarian state. The Bulgarian Empire at one point was occupying land in the northern parts of what is now called Greece. But Basil II was able to subdue the Bulgarians in one of the most important battles, the Battle of Cleidion in 1014. He blinded about every 9 of the Bulgarians in the army and only left about every other man with one eye so he could lead the others back home. That's why he gets the name the Bulgar Slayer, because he had slain so many Bulgarians. It is said that the site of the Bulgarian king's army, when the king saw he was actually an emperor. When the emperor saw what had happened to his army, it said that he died from the shock of the sight of his soldiers walking around blindly. So this is why he has that title, the Bulgar Slayer. He was very effective in the war against the Bulgarians. We must not underestimate the Bulgarian resistance, which gave the Byzantines a very hard time in their about 200 years struggle from the 9th century to the 11th century. Basil II would also have other great military victories. He would have great military success against the Georgian king and also be able to subdue the Armenians, being able to extend Roman territory to areas that had never been occupied by the Roman military. We should also remember that he was able to accomplish all these military successes while at the same time dealing with rebellions from 2 Byzantine generals at the same time. He manages to subdue these rebellions in the 970s and 980s and was able to then pursue his fight against both his Arab rivals and as well as the Bulgarians. What about the personality of the man? Well, Basil, he was a soldier emperor in the line of soldier emperors in the 10th century. He lived the life of a soldier, campaigning with his men rather than sending out orders from Constantinople. He ate from the same rations as the rest of his army. He was very popular with his soldiers. He was also very popular with the peasantry. One of the important achievements of his reign, but was one of those achievements that did not continue on with his successors, was that he passed a tax that required wealthy landowners to pay the debts of their poorer landowners. This made Basil II very popular with the peasantry and country, small landowners. It was also under his reign that classical antiquity, the philosophy of peoples such as Aristotle and Plato and others, was assimilated into the new Christian mentality of the Middle Byzantine state. So, in conclusion, you could say that Basil II really did represent the height of Byzantine glory. He managed to expand the boundaries of the empire from southern Italy to Armenia. He managed to create a new frontier with the Danube River, which had not been seen for over 400 years. The borders were now safe from enemies, the treasury was full, and the empire remained the most powerful entity of the age. It is unfortunate that his successors did not seem to be able to hold up to the high standard that he had brought to the throne, but he definitely played his purpose in history and was the best Byzantine emperor.